Okay, thought I'd do one for Lucian as well. This is my thought process on Lucian. I think there are kind of a couple of ways you can build him, but I think he does massively benefit from A, on-hit effects, and B, ability haste. Blade of the Ruined King and Black Cleaver, really easy to build Black Cleaver stacks, especially with the new Black Cleaver, and also with his passive, you're going to get extra use out of Blade of the Ruined King. And then I think the best crit items for him are probably Static Shiv and Infinity Edge, or you could go for Phantom Dancer and Infinity Edge. It really depends. Like, if you feel like you want to be a bit more defensive, Phantom Dancer. If you want to be more aggressive, then go for Static Shiv. I don't massively rate Rapid Fire Cannon on Lucian, mainly because that one extra increased range basic attack is not the be-all and end-all. And also, if Static Shiv wasn't so good in Wild Rift, I would probably recommend Rapid Fire Cannon. But I think because Static Shiv is really good in Wild Rift, I think it's better than Rapid Fire Cannon for Lucian in particular. And then Mortal Reminder is the final item. You could also maybe cut Mortal Reminder for a Guardian Angel, just really depends on how much armor you're going up against. Conqueror. Hunter Vampirism, which I think is the best rune for Lucian, especially if you can get him snowballing. Otherwise, you could go for something like Brutal, just to be a little bit more effective in the laning phase. I like Adaptive Carapace and Sweet Tooth. There is a full crit marksman build, which I think works pretty well with Static Shiv and Phantom Dancer plus Blade of the Ruined King, and then also Mortal Reminder with a similar setup in terms of runes. In terms of the abilities that you are maxing, there is really only one way. First ability, third ability, second ability. You should not be doing anything else. Max Piercing Light, Relentless Pursuit, and then whatever the hell his second ability is called, but that thing. It's very easy. It's pretty much done by every single Lucian out there. You really don't need to deviate from that in too much detail. Speaking of his abilities, let's go and take a look at them right now. Lucian's abilities are fairly simple. Passive, every time he casts an ability, he fires 2 shots, the second of which deals less damage but applies on-hit effects. Piercing Light shoots a bolt of light in a straight line that deals damage to all champions affected by it. Ardent Blaze fires a shot that explodes on the first target, dealing magic damage but also increasing movement speed. It also reveals and marks enemies, and attacks on that marked enemy will gain movement speed. So that's important to know. Relentless Pursuit dashes a short distance. It really is as simple as it seems, but every time that you use your passive, you reduce the cooldown on your third ability, which is important. And finally, his ultimate. He just fires a lot of bloody bullets, and if you hit all of those bullets, they do a lot of damage. You can also use your third ability whilst using your ultimate to reposition, but however, the angle that you lock your ultimate into will be the angle that it is stuck to for the remainder of its cast, but you can cancel your ultimate early. Okay, so with Lucian, one of the most important things is managing his passive, which is Light Slinger passive, which you can see here. You cast your ability, you get 2 basic attacks. You cast an ability, you get 2 basic attacks. You cast an ability, you get 2 basic attacks. Relatively simple, right? The number one trick for Lucian is using that to essentially get 2 quick dashes in rapid succession. So what you want to be able to do is queue up your Light Slinger passive, either with your first ability or with your second ability, but let's say we do it with our first ability. So we have our Light Slinger passive ready to go right now. We basic attack and we dash at the same time, and then we basic attack again. And you can see here, we basically have that ready to go. That can become, like, this is the items that I've got right now. The only ability haste I've got is Lucidity Boots and Black Cleaver. This can basically become 2 dashes in a row if you do it like this. Queue up your passive. Fire your passive and dash. Fire again, dash, fire again. Well, okay. Let's try and do that slower. Right. Let's try again. Okay. Queue up your... You've got to queue up your passive, right? Make sure you cast it and fire, and then you get it again. Cast this ability, cast that again. Boom. Bob's your uncle, okay? Pretty simple. The main part of this is ensuring that you fire before dashing, and then you fire again immediately afterwards. Use your second ability, passive again, dash again. You can basically get a double dash in very quick succession. So let's try again. First ability, make sure you fire before dashing. You basically get 4 shots in a row, then you're immediately into another dash. The reason this works is because when you're firing your ability, if you dash before they land, they count towards the cooldown reduction on your third ability. All right? Seems really stupid, right? You queue up your first ability, and as they are firing, you dash. And I did it too early. You have to make sure your passive fires before dashing. fires, dash, and then essentially, as soon as you come out of your dash, you will automatically basic attack a target if it's locked on. So you get 4 procs if you're light slinger passive, which essentially reduces the cooldown on your first ability by your third ability by 4 seconds. At this rank, it's a 10-second cooldown with a Black Cleaver and Lucidity Boots as ability haste. So you get 4 seconds off it immediately, and then you have your second ability, which will then give you another 2 seconds off it, which essentially gives you a double dash. So again, queue up that basic attack, come out straight out, second ability, and you enter another dash. You essentially have 2 dashes almost in a row there, because you're able to queue up your basic attack while you queue up your passive while you're dashing into another set of passives, into your second ability, into another set of passives, which allows you to dash again, pretty much like that. That's one of Lucian's key combos that you need to know. The other combos are just essentially, as I said, queuing your basic attacks. You always want to try and lead with your second ability. So you always want to try and lead with your second ability, because essentially that gives you movement speed. And again, obviously they're marked for 6 seconds, so that's a good way to just keep attached to a target, is using that second ability and using that to then follow up. So a good little combo for Lucian. I know we've talked pretty extensively about his light slinger passive combo with his dash, is this into dash, and then you're immediately chasing the target and you're able to kind of lock them down. Another good ability, another good way to use the second ability, is if you can fire it immediately into ultimate, you actually get the movement speed from the second ability with your ultimate. So that essentially allows you to keep pace and also reposition much more quickly just by having them marked. And of course they are marked for 6 seconds. And I'm going to go 0 cooldowns here just for a moment. Of course, as they said in the video, you can dash wherever you like with your Relentless Pursuit. You can also cancel it early if it's not going too well. You do have to wait 1 second to cancel it, but you can cancel it early if it is not going too well. And of course, you get locked in to the angle that you fire it at, so that's really important. But apart from that, Lucian's combos aren't actually too difficult. You lead with your second ability, hopefully land some basic attacks so that you can make best use out of your passive, as long as you're attempting to weave as many passives in after using abilities, and you don't want to waste passives with Lucian, so you want to make sure you're basic attacking after every ability. That's fine. You can also lead with your first ability, dash in, and then as they're trying to get away, use that second ability. But realistically, it's always best to try and lead with the second ability because you get the movement speed. But as long as you can pull off the double E combo, which you can see here, it's a really good way to get a load of damage down. That's one of Lucian's hardest combos to pull off, and if you can do that, it's fantastic. And of course, as you saw in the video, that third ability, his dash, can also be used to essentially dash across a lot of walls in the game. I do just want to show you this second ability in action. As you can see, get a bit of movement speed, keeping that movement speed up. We're essentially chasing them down, and that's a good little way to make the best use out of Lucian's second ability. That is the majority of Lucian's combos. He's, again, not a particularly complex character, but I hope you enjoyed playing him. And I'm going to go to bed now. Signing off.